Deuteronomy 28:48. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand.
Contact light. Okay, engine stop. ATA at a descent. Mode control both auto, descent engine command override off. Engine arm off. 13 is in.
We copy you down, Eagle.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guns.
Now they came with a different language, according to Deuteronomy 28:48. Now listen to this.
Well then, we'll both be doing our job, Mr. Slater. And surely that's as it should be.
Aye, aye, Captain. You leave the cargo to me. I speak their language, you might say.
Their language.
In a manner of speaking, sir, they have no proper language. No need of it. Just grunts and groans.
Okay, this is page 53. It says here, I'm going to start from the third paragraph. It says, the first object which saluted my eyes when I arrived on the coast was the sea and a slave ship which was then riding at anchor and waiting for its cargo. These filled me with astonishment, which was soon converted into terror. When I was carried on board, I was immediately handled and tossed up to see if I were sound by some of the crew. And I was now persuaded that I had gotten into a world of bad spirits and that they were going to kill me. This is what the slaves thought that the so-called white man was going to do, and he did. Okay? Mentally and physically. This is their complexions, too, differing so much from ours. Their long hair and the language they spoke, which was very different from any I had ever heard. United to conform me in this belief, indeed, such were the horrors of my views and fears at the moment, that if 10,000 worlds had been my own, I would have freely parted with them all to have exchanged my condition with that of the meanest slave in my own country. So what is that telling you right there? That's telling you that these people he did not know, nor their language. And this is part of the prophecies that the scriptures spoke of in Deuteronomy 28, saying we will be taken by strange people. Okay? And they were demonic people. All right? They were seeds of Satan.
Monies will be discussed at a later date. The question now is, can you capture or buy 170 healthy blacks and deliver them to the hold of the Lord Ligonier?
I'll capture some. I'll buy some. I'll fill your hold. I'll deliver.
And I'll steal some. That's what he should have said. I'll steal some. Okay, this is page 54. I'm going to read the highlighted spot. I'll give you a brief synopsis of the top part. Basically, the slaves were on a ship and they thought they were going to get cooked in a pot because they didn't understand the language of these men, these white men that were taking them hostage on ship. So it says here, I asked them if we were not to be eaten by those white men with horrible looks, red faces, and long hair. And that fits Esau, Genesis 25 and 25. They told me I was not, and one of the crew brought me a small portion of spirituous liquor in a wine glass, but being afraid of him, I would not take it out of his hand. One of the blacks therefore took it from him and gave it to me, and I took a little down my palate, which instead of receiving me, as they thought it would, threw me in the greatest consternation at the strange feeling it produced. having never tasted any such liquor before. Soon after this, the blacks who brought me on board went off and left me abandoned to despair. So basically, he's telling you that these men fit the description of Genesis 25 and 25. Okay, this is page 58 of the same book. It says, I remember in the vessel in which I was brought over, in the men's apartment there were several brothers, who in sale were sold in different lots. And it was very moving on this occasion to see and hear their cries at party, O ye nominal Christians, might not an African ask you? Learn you this from your God, and who says unto you, do unto all men as you would men should do unto you? Is it not enough that we are torn from our country and friends to toil for your luxury and lust of gain? Okay, so now he's questioning his spirit and the Most High. He's doing the same thing that King David did, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezra, all the prophets. Is it not enough that we are torn from our country and friends to toil for your luxury and lust of gain? Talking about the Edomites. This is what they did to us. Must every tender feeling be likewise sacrificed to your, basically, advantage? Various. Are the dearest friends and relations now rendered more dear by their separation from their kindred, which falls into the curses, Deuteronomy 28, still to be parted from each other, and thus prevented from cheering the gloom of slavery, with the small comfort of being together and mingling their sufferings and sorrows? Why are parents to lose their children, brothers, their sisters or husbands, their wives? Surely this is a new refinement and cruelty, which while it has no advantage to atone for it, thus aggravates distress and adds fresh horrors even to the wretchedness of slavery. And this is the thing, when we went into captivity, we had to go into captivity, every last one of us as a nation. You couldn't fight it. If you got away, you was going to go into captivity eventually. Like Kunta Kinte kept running. He kept running away, but he had to serve that slavery. This was deemed on us by the Most High. We had to go through it. So now we're coming at the end of our slavery judgment, or slavery sentence. And now we're coming back into our knowledge and our inheritance of who we are. Okay?
Between the 16th and the 18th centuries, many people were taken from this country to the Americas and the Caribbean, including Jamaica, Brazil, Suriname, Haiti, St. Vincent, Trinidad and Tobago, Antigua, etc.
One of the great declarations of human aspiration. It is a document that can mean so many things. A central document in Jewish history. They were allowed to return to Jerusalem and to rebuild the temple.
But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow passage by the river of the river. It says, for the Most High then showed signs for them, and held still the flood, till they were passed over, and that's below South Africa that I was telling you about. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth. Then dwelt they there until the latter time. What's the latter time? Now. This is the latter time. And now when they shall begin to come, the highest shall stay the springs of the stream again, that they may go through. Therefore sawest thou the multitude with peace. But those that be left behind of thy people are they that are found within my borders.
Asia is the richest kingdom, the land of spices and gold. At the moment, there are only two ways of reaching it. By sea, sailing around the African continent. The journey takes a year. Or by land. But the Turks have closed this route to all Christians. There is a third way. By sailing west across the ocean sea. The distance is unknown. It's said to be infinite. Superstition. I believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the Canary Islands. How can you be so certain? The calculations of Toscanelli, Marin de Tir, Esdras. Esdras is a Jew. So what's worse? 2 minutes, and already you're a dead man. For telling the truth? Yes. They are burning people for less.
Lost tribes and promised lands. Alright. It was written by Ronald Sanders. I'm going to turn to page 79. This is going to back up what we were reading in Ezra's. Drop down to third paragraph. It says, "These are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Elshay, the king, whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country, where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land." Now, I'm going to show you. Now, this is page 364, same book. It says, "Waving a banner high in the air, the Indian guide soon was greeted by a puff of smoke far beyond the other bank of the river. In response to a signal, the 2 men waited. Eventually a canoe appeared, carrying 3 men and a woman, all of them Indians, to the place where Francisco and Montezimos were standing at the water's edge. The woman got off and spoke to Francisco in an Indian tongue that Montezimos could not understand, although he could perceive that he was being identified in the conversation. She then turned to her male companions to explain the situation. Upon hearing her words, they rose, went over to Montezimos, and to his utter astonishment said, "Shema Yashala Alanawahawa Yahweh Akut. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one." Okay? So they were claiming, they were basically saying who they were. So I'm going to drop down. It says, "A brief conversation then ensued in their common ancestral tongue, according to Montezimos, whose fluency in it is almost as perplexing to the reader of his narratives as is that of his 3 mysterious new companions. They told him that they were themselves of the tribe of Reuben, and that the tribe of Joseph lived on an island nearby." So these people knew who they were, okay? This is during the 15th century. Now all of a sudden they don't know who they are because the so-called white man done changed everything and pretty much washed their names away. Alright, so I'm going to jump over here. It says here, "His ancestors to their eternal shame has indeed made war on them and persecuted them." How did that happen? With the conquistadors. Came and brainwashed them. Only the sorcerers of his tribe had perceived that they were a special people and had given warning that they should be left alone. The God of these children of Israel is the true God, they had said, and everything inscribed on their tablets is true. At the end of days, they will be lords of all the nations of the earth. One nation will come bringing many things to this land, and after we have all been provided for, these children of Israel will go forth from where they now are and reign over the whole earth. as they once did. So now, basically, it's telling you who the Israelites are. That the 10 tribes came over to the West Indies. They came over to Guatemala, South America, and North America, which makes up the 10 tribes. Okay, so I'm going to show you a picture of the Euphrates. Okay, there's Egypt. There's Israel. I'm going to take you up to where Euphrates is. Okay, there's Euphrates. It's way up near Iraq. Remember, they were in captivity close in this area here, alright? The 10 tribes. So the Euphrates, as you can see, it goes all the way up. It's up high. You see? Euphrates, it just goes all the way up. It connects to that Mediterranean Sea. So that Euphrates comes down. There's the Tigris. You can see the Tigris there. The Euphrates comes down, and it comes right into the Persian Gulf. So this is how they escape. See? Through the Indian Ocean, around Madagascar. They came down below where the waters are rough. Alright? If you talk to any naval ship captains, they'll tell you this is the roughest part of the sea down in this area. Below the Cape here. Cape of Good Hope. A lot of sharks and all of that down there. Okay, then they came up past West Africa. Look how close they are to Brazil. Okay, so they came up Brazil all the way up here to Panama, the islands, Mexico, Guatemala. This is where they stopped. That's the final stop right there. So they made a pretty big voyage from here all the way around to here. This area is called Arcereth. The reason why I had to make this is because a lot of our brothers and sisters don't know this. Alright? They haven't seen it. A lot of brothers and sisters don't even know what's on the map, let alone tell you what state they from. But our people are very complacent. You know, most brothers and sisters that live in the states, that stay in some neighborhoods, they got a beach 30 miles away, and they ain't never visited the beach in their life. They're 28, 29 years old, 35, they ain't never been to the beach. So, you know, in order to give them some reality, give them an understanding, you gotta actually show them. You gotta take your time and show the brothers and sisters. So that's what I'm doing. Alright, there's a spirit on me that told me to do this, so that's what I'm doing, trying to wake up some of my brothers and sisters, you know. Alright, so there you have it. This is how the 10 tribes got here.
Nós nunca mais vamos voltar a ser escravos de novo. Nunca mais.